Some players break rules while others break ankles, but these guys broke the actual rulebook. By the way, this isn't the first time we've done this. In part 1, we looked at legends like Wilt Chamberlain, who dunked his free throws, and of course Michael Jordan, who was so dominant in the league that he had to rewrite defensive rules just to make things fair. It's been a minute since that video dropped, so if you missed it, go check it out after this, because today we're back with part 2. More players, more chaos, and more rulebook rewrites. And we're starting with a guy whose scoring back was so deep that he began getting fouls for being too smooth. Let's talk about Kevin Durant.
And make a play, you've got to do a better job in that double team, keeping him contained.
Yeah, Batum now.
Kevin Durant is a walking bucket, but he was also a walking free throw line at one point. That is because KD found a cheat code that broke the game without breaking a single actual rule. That cheat code was called the rip-through move. Now, this is how it worked. KD would get the ball on the wing, swing his arms up through the defender's reaching hands, and boom, the whistle blew. It was not a real shot or basketball move. It was just a slick way to get to the line. Again and again and again. It got so bad that defenders were afraid to even breathe on him. And in 2011, the NBA said, okay, that's enough. I mean, something had to be done, and they made a rule. So, the new rule stated that the rip-throughs will no longer be considered shooting fouls unless they were part of a legitimate shot attempt. And in layperson's term, it means you can't just crouch up your way to 3 free throws anymore. But let's be real, KD didn't need a rip-through to score. The man's a 4-time scoring champ, and one of the most unstoppable offensive weapons the league has ever seen. Now, while KD was out there changing foul rules with finesse, this next guy, Dikembe Mutombo, forced a rule change using one finger.
On the dunk shot, Akbar slashes in and Mutombo denies him.
Dikembe Mutombo didn't just block shots, he embarrassed you for even trying. Every time someone thought they had a clean layup or pull-up jumper, Mutombo will swat it away and hit you with the signature tant, the finger wag. That was him basically saying, not on my watch. It's a move so iconic that you can hear it just by seeing it. But here's the thing, the NBA wasn't exactly a fan of the extra spice. They saw the finger wag not as a celebration, but as tanting. So they stepped in and made a rule. The rule was simple. If you wag your finger at another player after a block, it's a technical foul. But if you do it to the crowd, then it's fine. It's fair that it's a technical foul when you wag your finger at the guy you just sent into a career rethink. Well, after this, Mutombo didn't stop blocking shots. I mean, he still ranks second all time in blocks. But the league had to say, we love the defense, but tone down the drama. So yeah, Mutombo didn't just reject shots, he rejected league's chill. And the NBA had to put a lid on the finger-flicking disrespect. Mutombo got flagged for waving a finger, but someone got creative and thought of a way to hurt the whole league. And at that, with his feet. I mean, Bruce Bowen had a closeout that made the NBA nervous, so it had to be reconsidered. Bruce Bowen was the type of defender who made scorers uncomfortable. Not because he talked trash, but because you never knew where his feet would end up. I mean, the dude wasn't just a lockdown defender, he was a landmine. And the crazy thing is that every jumper came with the risk of rolling your ankle. Bowen had a reputation of sliding under shooters during closeouts. Sometimes it looked unintentional, and other times not so much. Guys like Vince Carter, Ray Allen, and Steve Francis were all vocal about it. I mean, they called it dirty and dangerous, and guess what? They weren't wrong. Bowen never got a specific Bruce rule, but make no mistake, he was the blueprint for what came next. The NBA quietly started enforcing the landscape rule more strictly in the mid-2000s, and then, after Zaza's 2017 hit on Kawhi, the rule finally got a name and a full enforcement. So no, Bowen didn't get officially flagged like Zaza, but he was the original "you might land on my foot" guy. And the league started watching closeouts closely because of him. While Bowen was causing chaos on court, Allen Iverson was setting a culture off court, and the NBA had to step in with a code of conduct.
Skip trying to work on Iverson. Allen
Iverson didn't just influence the game, he influenced the culture. Dude was always swagged up, or as the cool kids say, he was always dripping, never to be caught unfresh. He had cornrows, chains, throwback jerseys, diamond studs, and baggy jeans. I mean, AI brought hip-hop swagger straight into the NBA spotlight, and while fans loved it, the league's front office wasn't a fan of it. By the early 2000s, Iverson had become the face of a cultural revolution in the NBA, but someone had to ruin on his parade, and that someone was Commissioner David Stern. He and the league's executive thought the image needed cleaning up. In 2005, the NBA introduced something no one saw coming: a dress code. Players were now required to wear business casual attire on league business. Suits, collared shirts, no chains, no hats, no oversized gear, and let's be honest, this rule wasn't about fashion. It was glaring that it was about Iverson. He didn't break any in-game rules, but he bent the image of what an NBA player could look like. So the league rewrote the script because AI wasn't just a crossover king, he was a cultural disruptor. And even though the rule was aimed at him, it only added to his legend. And speaking of legend, this next guy was so legendary that he changed how defenses had to guard everyone on it. I'm talking about the greatest shooter the game has ever seen, George Mikan.
The goaltending rule came in because I used to goaltend, go up and stop the ball from going in the hoop. I could jump high enough to stop it, whether it be offense or defense. And guys like Adolph Rupp, Joe Lopchick again, and a whole bunch of them didn't like that rule. And they didn't have anyone around that could do that, so they legislated that you cannot hit the ball or touch the ball on its downward descent to the hoop.
Before Shaq was tearing down rims, before Wilt was casually dropping hundreds, there was George Mikan. He was a man so dominant in the post that the NBA basically said, yeah, we need to make the basket harder to get. Standing 6'10" in an era where most players look like they're just clocked out of their day jobs, Mikan would plant himself right under the basket like a tree in church shoes and use soft hook shots, endless pivots, and good old post-up bullying to turn the paint into his own personal scoring spot. And since the paint was only 6 feet wide at the time, defenders had no space, no leverage, and no hope of pushing him out. So instead of trying to stop Mikan, the NBA decided to stop the court from helping him. They literally widened the lane from 6 feet to 12 feet to push big men farther from the rim. This change became known as the Mikan rule, and just like that, Judge Mikan became the first man in NBA history to get nerfed by geometry. He didn't just break the game, he made the league break out the measuring tape and redraw the map just to keep things fair.
Charles Barkley wasn't the tallest power forward, just 6 feet 6 inches. But what he did have was elite footwork and a big old backside that he used to bully defenders in the post.
If bullying defenders could automatically get you a ring, Charles would probably be collecting them in the Infinity Stones. Charles Barkley didn't just back defenders down, he bullied them in a slow, methodical, and relentless way. It wasn't post-play, it was torture in real time. He'll get the ball on the low block, lower that shoulder, and start backing his man down. Not for 5 seconds, not 10, we're talking 20 plus seconds of I'm stronger than you basketball. It was like watching someone play NBA 2K with the shot clock turned off. Sure, it was legal, but it was also a boss kill, because no one came to watch that happening. The league had to intervene. They said, nope, we're not letting this happen every possession. So, in 1999, they introduced the 5-second back to the basket rule. Now, if a player posts up with his back to the basket below the free throw line, he's got 5 seconds to make a move or pass it. And it simply meant no more Barkley bulldozer mode for half of the shot clock. To be fair, Charles was a beast. An undersized power forward who dominated Hall of Fame bigs on pure strength, footwork, and attitude. But yeah, the league had to put a timer on the barbecue chicken routine. So there you have it. From backdowns to rip-throughs, finger wags to free throw fakes, these players didn't just play the game. They made the league rewrite it. And one thing's for sure, if you're making the NBA change its rules, then you're doing something legendary. And speaking of legendary, you love I'll delve into the guys who didn't just break the records, they broke the bank. We're talking about the NBA Money Kings, the highest paid players of all time. And yes, even that guy who made $300 million and still hustles like he's on a rookie deal. While you're at it, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button.